Hello and welcome to another episode of Metal Effort. My name's Nehemiah, and today we'll be going over this hunk of metal, the Thrunite TC20. Alright, so let's jump into the dent, the decent, the excellent, the nitpicks, and the terrible of this flashlight. First off, let's start with the decent. Now, this is something that's not really going to come across in video, but this has a very solid construction. I could tell it has very tight tolerances and it just feels solid. That indefinable feeling of just solid construction. Unlike, the little cheapy guy I got on Amazon, this feels like I gotta be careful with it. It's worth 20 bucks. This feels like it's worth 90. You can just tell that difference. Fit and finish is basically perfect. Next is the IPX rating. This is IPX8. Pretty dust and water resistant. This is something you want to be careful with, in particular with the USB charger little port here. If you're not careful putting this back, I could see that as being the biggest weak point. So I wouldn't push it too far, but it's nice to know if an accident happens. As long as you snag it out of the water pretty quick, you should be okay. Next is the size to lumen ratio. The brightest this can get is 3800 lumen, and the size of this is actually pretty good. It's about as long as a PM2 for reference. Weight wise, we're looking at about 26, I think is what I remember weighing this as. 8.26. Brain works in mysterious ways. 8.26. 26 was my lightsaber, that's what it was. Anyway, that's back with Obi-Wan. You have two choices with this, and the particular choice I chose was the natural light. It's going to be hard to come across in this particular video, but it looks a little bit blue-ish, I think, on the monitor here, but it's actually a little bit softer. I wouldn't call it like a yellow, but it's just a little bit more warm than your normal cool, kind of sterile light. I think it's easier on the eyes for sure. I think even medically they're starting to come out with stuff that's indeed confirming that. But even things like with the really cool light, you notice it showing the dust particles in the air. For whatever reason, this light wave doesn't pick those up as much. So take that for whatever it is. I like it. I think it's a good hue to the light. I also really enjoy the kind of throw and flood of this light. It's not adjustable in terms of, if it's more like a spotlight or more like a floodlight. It's just a mix of the two. It has really good range for highlighting objects, but still casts a pretty wide beam. It's the exact opposite of this one. This one's got the little nozzle thing, so I can laser beam it, or I can disco ball it. But I like this because it lights up everything that you need it to, and you don't have to mess with it, and there's no moving parts other than the casing unscrewing. So one less thing to fail. Next thing is all the modes that this comes with. Now there's three primary modes. There's the medium, the low, the high. Those are the ones that if you set it and then you turn the light off and you press it again, it goes back to that same mode. To cycle through them, you just click the button and hold with it on, and it goes low, medium, high. If I stop at high, I turn it off again and turn it on again, it'll be at high again. So that's pretty easy. If you're using it around the house, I'd say it's probably safer to keep it on the low setting. So if you need to use this in the middle of the night, you're not blinding yourself or other people around you when you need to use it. The cool thing about this is there's three other modes. First mode is if the light is off, you just click and hold the button and it gives you a firefly mode. This is just enough to kind of find whatever you're looking for. Maybe you need to find your USB cable because the battery on this is going low. This has an incredible battery life. It's a half a lumen, but it can run in this mode for 37 days. Not hours, days. Which is awesome. That's cool. The low mode, that I think is kind of the safe way to turn it off, I guess. That one is 38 lumen, medium is 320, high is 1800, and then there's a special mode which is called turbo. So if I turn it on like normal, I'm currently on the low. If I just double click while it's on, it automatically goes to turbo mode. That is the brightest setting. At this brightest setting, you're cranking out 3800 lumen, and you can do that for a full 130 minutes, which is really good. That's awesome. Now, if I turn that off and then turn it back on again, it's going to go back to the memory, which was low. So you're not gonna accidentally, click it once and be completely blinded with turbo mode. You have to do something specific to get it into that mode. So click and hold when it's off for the Firefly, or it's already on any of the 3 normal settings. You double click to get to the turbo mode. Now, if you do the double click and then do the double click again, you can give yourself a seizure. That's cool. Moving right along, let's get into the decent here, and that's the lockup. So if you do a half a turn like that and you click the button, it won't do anything at all. So if you're worried about this accidentally turning on, you throw it in a bag or something, you want to be extra safe, you just do that half a turn and that disengages it. And then simple turn on, and now it's back to working. Pretty straightforward, easy to use, and it's a good safety feature. We're going to go into the excellent. The excellent is just how bright this actually gets, which again is hard to communicate on the light on the video here, but turbo mode is crazy. It's insanity. I was using the light to go to my car at night, and I tried it out, and I just felt like had a spotlight on myself. Like, it was so obvious. Like, what is that guy doing? He's got a flashlight that's lighting up the night sky. Walking around, in your apartment complex or something, or from your car to your house at night, low or medium is probably the recommended brightness, but it's nice to know if you need turbo mode, this thing can really pump out the lumens, which is cool. The truly last and best excellent thing is this little USB charger. This is the main reason why I actually decided to get this light. Good quality camping light is what I was looking for. But I didn't want to mess with battery chargers that are separate and kind of sketchy, and have to bring a bunch of weird, big, bulky chargers on my little $20 Amazon knife, or light rather. And so this is just the convenience factors off the charts. If I'm visiting somewhere, if I lose my cable, it's pretty easy to find somebody that has a traditional USB cable and be able to charge this right up, stick it into a computer or a phone charger. It'll do the trick, which is awesome. Few nitpicks. Nitpick number 1, the button is kind of hard to find at night. So if I put this in my bedstand and I'm groping for it, these little flattened corners, I keep thinking, oh, this is a button. No. Is this a button? No. Okay, here it is. And it's hard to feel the difference when you're just moving your finger across it. Next thing is it's black. I mean, most flashlights are black, but I don't know why. I think they should be something a little bit lighter, maybe silver or copper or something that catches the eye. Makes it that easier to find it out of a bag or at nighttime. It just doesn't make sense for the light itself to be black. I don't need tactical blend-in mode. I'm not a chameleon or a marine or anything like that, so don't need it. Next thing is it rolls. You would think that all these flat parts around here might be low enough on the base of it to catch the table, but it doesn't. This knob is big enough and this is short enough that it just rolls and rolls and rolls. Bye, Thrunite. So, I don't know. I wish it was prominent enough to where it might go clunk, clunk, clunk. To where if I need to roll it, I can, but otherwise it'll stay put, and it just doesn't do that. Next is the size is good given the lumens, but it's not necessarily small enough for EDC. Again, comparing it to a PM2, thickness-wise, it's 2, almost 3 of these. Obviously, there's no clip. It's just like a little potato in your pocket, and it's too big, I think, for EDC. Now, if you have a messenger bag or Merce or whatever, you could throw this in, and I think you'd be okay. But if you're just sticking it in your pants or cargo pocket or something like that. I think it's just too big and too heavy for that. So that definitely narrows the practicality of this and just how broadly desirable it would be for people. I think for camping it's good. You compare it to like giant flashlights, it's definitely got a leg up on those in terms of features, brightness, and size compared to the really big lights. Just not small enough for EDC. Next is turbo mode gets really, really hot. So this is just like the lightsaber that Obi made, but you can't really have your hands around here at all if it's on turbo mode for any length of time. Even down here, the body heats up and starts to cook your fingers a little bit. If you have gloves, it's not a big deal, but I wouldn't recommend having turbo on for like a super long time unless you absolutely need to in terms of heat. Lastly, for the terrible is the price. Now, some people think that $90 is totally justified for this. And I do like the light. I have no intentions of trading it or selling it. I got it as a camp light and I wanted something a little bit more heavy duty. I definitely could have got stuff a lot cheaper and have in the past, but I don't know. If somebody asks, what's just a good all-rounder light, for a decent price, I don't think I would go up this high in cost for just a general recommendation. There is another model that I'm interested to try that I think has potential to be that, and that's the Thrunite Neutron, the 2C V3. Its total output is 1100 lumen, where this is 3800 lumen. So not quite as bright, but it's much more narrow, has a clip, and I think would be pretty lovely in the pocket. So I don't know. I think this definitely fills a gap. It's just the size that they got it down to isn't quite enough to bridge the gap into EDC. So I think, you make it any smaller, it's not fitting the category that they were trying to go for in the first place. It is what it is. It's kind of a heavy duty light that's been shrunk down. So what are my overall recommendations for this? I say if you're looking for a camping tool or a heavy duty workhorse, like maybe you've got a tool belt or something that you could stick this in, plumbers, electricians or something where, they need something that has that really awesome battery life, which this does have, then maybe this would work if you've got some place to put it other than your pants pocket. Then I say go for it. It is high quality, and I think it does some really cool things in this category, but it's not a blanket recommendation for everyone. So I hope this review was helpful to you. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.